dear ladies and gentlemen, dear audience, dear speakers. I'm glad to welcome all of you on our StrategEast.Live panel discussion, Eurasia's data economy. My name is Stanislav Kolchuk. I am project manager at StrategEast, and today I will moderate our discussion. Many times we heard that data is the main resource for modern economy. Data shapes our future, facilitates scientific research, drives technological development, and helps to make informed choices in business and policy making. Today at our event, we will discuss why is data the new oil for the economy of 21st century, such simple but a really complex question, and how Eurasian governments deal with data. This panel follows the discussion, how can Eurasia reap the data dividends, opportunities for data-driven transformation. It was a special session co-organized by the World Bank and UNDP as a Strategy State and IT Eurasian Forum 2021 in Bishkek. The link to the previous discussion you can find in the description to this video and in our live chat. So I invite you to visit this link and to watch this discussion. And now let me introduce our distinguished speakers of today's panel who will cover this topic. Mikhail Bunchuk, Senior Director, Senior Digital Development Specialist at World Bank. Tamerlan Tagiev, Executive Director of Center for Analysis and Coordination of the Fourth Industrial Revolution under the Ministry of Economy of Azerbaijan. Nuria Kutnaeva, Director of State Agency for Personal Data Protection under the Cabinet of Ministers of the Kyrgyz Republic. Dmitriy, Head of Data Analysis Department in National Information Technologies, JSC, Kazakhstan. And Olga Tumruk, Director of E-Governance Agency of the Republic of Moldova. And not to waste our time, let's move to our first speaker, Mikhail Bunchuk. Mikhail, you have deep expertise in today's topic. You have been involved in a number of World Bank projects focusing on the use of digital economy, IT industry development, open data, etc. And I want to ask you as an expert, why is data an essential resource for the modern economy? There's a simple, but in the time complex question. And why is it important for government to learn how to deal with data? And also, how does the World Bank supports data-driven transformation in Eurasia? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Stanislav. And let me share my presentation right away. Can you see my slides on the screen?
Yes.
Excellent. In the first place, I would like to thank Stanislav, you and the entire StrategEast team for the organization of this event and for your continued leadership in the space of digital development and data economy in the Eurasian region. I also would like to thank for their participation and welcome all the speakers representing the countries from the Eurasian space as our partners and collaborators in fostering digital economy in this big and interesting region. Let me go straight to my presentation, and Stanislav, you provided the exact structure that I wanted to follow in my presentation. Now, why data is important and why we're talking about data economy? Of course, this is first of all the result of the sheer volumes of data that is being produced every day and even every minute. And this is just a fun slide showing how much data is coming from, the various online instruments that we use constantly. But this is just a small share of, the data generated from various sources, as I'm sure you're all aware. There is an exponential growth in volumes of data observed since probably the year 2010 and even earlier. And of course, these days we're talking not only about structured data, which is released as open data by the governments or the private sector or academic world. We're talking more about Internet of Things data, industrial data, real-time data that are behind this exponential growth. That's why these days where we're talking about new terms from internet economy, we proceeded to the notion of data economy, but now even the term data economy is superseded by the term algorithmic economy, which emphasizes the importance of big data, which requires complex algorithm to process in order to generate economic value. And this is just another illustration of the rapid increase in the data volume of Internet of Things data coming from various sensors, various connections worldwide. And you can see that until 2025, the amount of IoT generated data is expected to grow 6 times. Of course, another trend is the growth of computing power, and what you can see on the screen is just one of the examples of supercomputers, which are becoming an integral part of the data economy. And of course, in order to generate value from the amounts of data which are being produced, complex artificial intelligence models are required, which become increasingly powerful. And here on the screen, you can see just a few examples of language models powered by our artificial intelligence. And what is important in the context of our discussion, they are increasingly utilized by the governments. And Estonia is just one example of artificial intelligence guided platform for interaction between the government and the citizens. There is even changes in the types of organizations which are coming from the proliferation of data, and decentralized autonomous organization is a new type of organization which leverages high amounts of data. It is blockchain enabled, and the so-called DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organization, represent a new set of institutions and platforms that are owned by their users, run fairly and transparently, and are indigenous to the internet and data economy. One more phenomenon which is increasingly paramount and prominent, including in the public sector, it's the use of metaverse, which is about combining physical and extended reality in persistent and shared virtual space. And here again, this is just one of the examples of a metaverse platform that was launched recently. Metaverse platforms are increasingly used in education and training, in health, in urban development, and an increasing number of governments are adopting policies and initiatives to produce digital twins and the metaverse projects. It's United Kingdom, New Zealand, European Union, and advertising a little bit the work done by the World Bank. We recently conducted an event which is called DigiTalk on metaverse, and also published a blog on the importance of metaverse for development. If our participants can Google it, they will immediately find these materials on the web. So summarizing a little bit why data is becoming central to development is because it drives better policy making and service delivery. It promotes accountability. It increases business opportunities, and also it has strong poverty alleviation impact because in particular it creates better opportunities for small, medium-sized enterprises, for small entrepreneurs to enter markets more easily, utilizing data-enabled products and solutions. And in this way, it can better, the data economy can better serve underserved and disadvantaged populations. That's why I think we should definitely speak about the importance of data for policy agenda. And here we come to the conclusions of the Data for Better Lives World Development Report published by the World Bank. I would not dwell much on this report because, as Stanislav pointed out, that was the subject of the previous event, also organized by StrategEast in partnership with World Bank and UNDP. But just a quick snapshot of the conclusions of this report. The exponential growth of data and computing power can bring about substantial social economic benefits while also generating risks, mainly associated with data protection, data privacy, cybersecurity. And this generates the need for a social contract for data, which is about value, trust, and equity. And this is a homework for our viewers to revisit the World Development Report and read more about social contract of data if they don't remember much about about its essence. But I would like to speak more about national data ecosystem, which can be said to be a way to operationalize the social contract of data. So national data ecosystem is about bringing together infrastructure, laws, economic policies, institutions, and human capital in an integrated and connected system, which also has an important international dimension because it involves regulation of cross-border data flows, adoption of common standards, agreements on taxation and trade issues. But we can also speak apart from the national data ecosystem about ecosystems at the city level, and also sector-specific ecosystems, or as they alternatively called in the European Union context, data spaces. And of course, there could be data spaces or ecosystems specific to sectors like transport, energy, and so on. So why the concept of ecosystem is so important? First, of course, because the interconnectedness of infrastructure policies, laws, economic policies, institutions, as shown on the slide. But this is also important because data should be used collectively, and the metaphor of data as the new oil, which Stanislav started from, is useful, but it may be a bit misleading in the sense that, unlike oil or many other products and commodities, data is not a rivalrous good, to use the economic term, because the consumption of data by another user, apart from the initial owner or producer of this data, does not reduce the value of the data, but increases the data. The more data is used, the more its value increases, and the more products and services can be produced from interconnected data sets. So it's important to talk about not restricting data sharing and using data as a network resource, network data, rather than exploring silos and restrictions on data flows. And it is important to talk to emphasize the importance of, in this context, of introducing data reuse, encouraging more partnerships in data sharing, and demonstrating the value of sharing data, while of course recognizing the risks coming from data protection and data privacy, and addressing these risks, but without going from data privacy to data poverty. So it's very important to find the right balance between so-called data safeguards, something that enables protection of data privacy and the rights of individuals in managing their data assets, particularly private data, and the enablers of data economy, which promote effective use of data as a network resource. So this is basically what national data ecosystem is about. And in building effective national data ecosystems, the governments should answer the list of questions that you can read on the screen, and this determines the priorities for government policies in the data space, and the governance framework that the governments needs to develop. What we should point out is that there are, of course, a number of interesting cases of development of governance framework for data at the national level, and European Union, Republic of Korea, maybe also United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates. They represent good examples of addressing the above issues from the slide in a systemic manner. However, in most countries, data governance frameworks are still fragmented and piecemeal, and there is an important homework for governments to do to achieve systemic approach to data management and data governance, and reap the benefits from data. And basically, there is a strong need for development of preparation of national data strategies and action plans, which would prioritize the development of sector-specific trusted data platforms, user-centric services supporting different stages of the data value chain, and upgrade in the digital and cybersecurity infrastructure elements that support them. Now, what the World Bank as the development institution could help in this regard, what we are doing. It's just a snapshot of the types of initiatives that we're working with at the country level, with including in the countries which are represented today in this panel, in our event. It's about implementing trusted data platforms. It's about creating enabling environment, as we call it, for data protection in particular. It's about encouraging building data platforms and cloud solutions for effective data storage and exchange. It's about, of course, upgrading digital infrastructure and broadband networks for better data flows. It's about enhancing cybersecurity. And last but not least, it's investments in human capital and skills, which are lacking seriously in a number of countries, even among the leaders in this space. If we talk about our main business of the World Bank, of course, this is lending projects that we are financing in the interest of the developing and transition countries, including Central Asia, where I work. I didn't speak much about myself, but my main focus of work is supporting digital development projects in Central Asia sub-region of Eurasia. Practically every project that we're now supporting includes a standard set of elements, and right now every subcomponent of developing legal and regulatory framework for digital economy includes strengthening legislation on data protection and data privacy. Of course, we're supporting digital infrastructure, which includes both broadband and data center infrastructure. We support better government data management and fostering whole of government concept and government as a platform concept. In many instances, we support development of national ICT statistical information management system, which is an important subset of the overall data economy. Digital skills, and I would like to especially mention some of the semantic applications of data, and in particular, since disaster response management and climate adaptation are extremely important topics in the Eurasian context. We are trying to develop specific data-driven solutions for disaster response and climate adaptation. And of course, apart from financing project, the World Bank does a lot of analytical work, starting in the context of our discussion with the World Development Report, Data for Better Lives. But there are a number of reports which were prepared in parallel or resulting or building upon the findings of the World Development Report 21. And I would like particularly mention the report on data economy regulation and governance under World Bank's Analytical Insights series. You can easily locate this material on the internet. And based on that report, we're preparing data economy guides for individual regions, like, for instance, Middle East and North Africa region, and also we will prepare similar materials for other regions. We are currently finalizing the preparation of a global data policy guide, which provide actionable recommendations on improving data economies globally. And I'm very glad to mention in this context that as an extension of this guide, we are currently working with the government of Moldova in data ecosystems case study, assessing the state of data economy in this country. And I hope this will be a pilot to be followed by many other data economy or data ecosystem diagnostic exercises in other countries. Also, actually, as of right now, today, we will be launching a new report on cloud and global cloud infrastructure study, which will be also in the public domain. And you will be able to access it on the World Bank site soon, once it is released. And we are doing quite a bit of work on the impact of artificial intelligence in developing countries, both, of course, the benefits, but also risks and how to mitigate these risks. So I would stop here. I would like to thank everyone, and I would be glad to answer any questions. And also, I would be really delighted if all the analytical materials and the operational experience of the World Bank that I mentioned today would provide the ground for further dialogue and further innovations that we can all jointly support in our work. Thank you very much again. Over to you, Stanislav.
Yes, thank you, Mikhail. You mentioned World Bank Data for Better Life report. The link is already in chat, so our viewers, our audience can find it. Let's move to our speaker. I ask all speakers, keep in mind that we are limited in time. And now I want to invite our next speaker, Tamerlan Tagiev. Tamerlan participated at the panel at our forum in Bishkek and provided comprehensive review of the Azerbaijan national policy related to the transition of commodity-driven economy to advanced tech, digital economy, data-driven economy. So I also invite you to watch this speech and to find a lot of interesting takeaways there. And today I would like to ask Tamerlan to tell our audience about the latest implemented projects and the short-term plans of your Center for Analysis and Coordination of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stanislav. I also want to thank the organizers and greet our great panelists today. Mikhail gave a very comprehensive information about the data needs, why it is important, how it is gathered. But let me also start maybe with a very short presentation about our center to be able to explain why we are so much interested in the data and data-related issues. So as you just rightly mentioned, Azerbaijan is basically going through the transformation of its commodity-driven economy into the tech-advanced digital economy. And we are doing our best to foster this process and achieve the visible results. Let me try to share my screen, if you don't mind, just a second. So I hope you can see my screen. And so our Center for Analysis and Coordination of the Fourth Industrial Revolution has been launched on January 2021. And we have actually almost immediately started cooperating with the World Economic Forum. And we have created the affiliate center of the World Economic Forum in Azerbaijan. But the major aim of our center is to analyze and coordinate the projects and strategies for the digital economy, and as well as implement initiatives, projects, again, strategies, initiatives related to the application of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Of course, we are cooperating with international organizations and local institutions, and we're trying to do it in a close coordination with all the stakeholders. We cooperate with the World Economic Forum on the 3 platforms, which are artificial intelligence and machine learning, Internet of Things and urban transformation, and digital trade. Here you may see some of our activities. We have established a couple of working groups within the government. For example, we have a working group on the Fourth Industrial Revolution technologies that consists of 22 government institutions. We have our future goals. We believe that we have to develop and adopt a national digital economy strategy. We believe we'll also need the strategies on artificial intelligence as well as Fourth Industrial Revolution that will help us to better understand where we stand today and where we need to move forward. And of course, digital trade is part of all of those activities. We are also thinking about the smartification of our industry, and we have started a couple of initiatives in that regard as well. You may see some of our major goals here, but let me stop share my screen here, and I will tell you a little bit what we have done so far in Azerbaijan. with regards to the data. As I said, Azerbaijan has started and accelerating the transition to the data-driven economy. And in order to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of data governance in the Republic of Azerbaijan, the government agencies make extensive use of information systems and resources. And by the presidential decree dated December 6, 2016, the effective organization of the formation, storage, maintenance, and integration of state information systems and reserves necessitated the creation of a centralized government cloud, so G-Cloud. For the government cloud project, the tier level 3 data center infrastructure has been used, and it's called ASCloud. ASCloud is the first cloud provider in Azerbaijan and actually in South Caucasus region to have a tier 3 ISO 20,000, ISO 22301, and ISO 27001 certificates. They are basically have this. They are certified data center. It is the certified data center. The main infrastructure is of course available in the capital city, but just to make sure that we have data protection and data security, we have to provide reliable and quality cloud services, a backup data center was also created, which is also tier 3 facility. In 2020, the Azerbaijan government approved the transformation plan of government information systems and resources to the government cloud that considered establishing G-Cloud architecture, national data center, and G-Cloud platform. In general, about 36 state organizations in Azerbaijan are planning to transfer to G-Cloud. The e-government portal with its entire infrastructure was transferred to the data center in 2018. Many of state organizations and their information actually have already been transferred to the government cloud, and some services are currently work directly through this infrastructure. The data center allows companies to reduce capital costs to zero or almost zero, and reduce operating costs by 30 to 40%, while increasing the productivity and ensuring business sustainability. We are actually planning to allocate quite a number, which is in million US dollars from the state budget for the transition to the government cloud in this year. We have also establishment of e-signature infrastructure in the country has served to the expansion of e-government solutions. Development of the in order to include enhanced e-signature certificates in the electronic version of new generation ID cards and new certificate service centers was established in 2018 at the same data center. So this is in a nutshell maybe, but just to give you some overview of what Azerbaijan has been through, and why I gave some information on what we are working currently. We understand that if we want to develop artificial intelligence, IoT infrastructure in Azerbaijan, and other to make sure that the fourth industrial revolution technologies are very well adopted, we understand that we need the related infrastructure in place. First of all, we need the infrastructure, we need the financial resources to support those who want to digitalize. We need to make sure that we have related staff and human resources that are digitally equipped. or with digital knowledges, and we need to have the frameworks, and legal part of it is also important, as well as cybersecurity. And by going through this process, we understand, okay, we develop the IoT devices and we have them everywhere, but you have to manage and store the data that will be provided by those devices. And this is for some of the players, this might be additional costs, additional human resources that will be dealing with that. And even while developing this infrastructure, we need to understand where the data will be coming from and where it will be ending up. Artificial intelligence, so I want to talk a little bit more about the data from the perspective of the fourth industrial revolution technologies, because now we are talking about big data. When we talk about big data, we're also have to remember the machine learning and artificial intelligence, which will actually be analyzing this data and helping us to make the right decisions. Availability of data is, again, as I mentioned last time, is only part of it, but data needs to be clean, needs to be readable, and nowadays it needs to be digital. So these are the things that we want to promote for in our country. We want the data to be, as I said, clean, readable, digital, so that the solutions that we will be bringing we will be able to benefit from those. Of course, data protection is another issue, and we have seen different countries with different policies. Some of them are more protective, some of them are ready to share their data. But when we talk about data as oil, some countries or some companies are benefiting, and some people are starting also benefiting in some countries just by selling their data. So I still agree with the concept that data is new oil, but we need definitely to have a right approach, as Mikhail said, to data. And we would be glad to use the opportunities that are available within the World Bank. We are already using your online data platforms that provides huge number of great data already analyzed and put together. So we hope that this we will be able to cooperate even closer. And I want to stop here. If there will be any questions, I would be happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Tamerlan. Really, you added a lot of new information from, and if we compare this first year speech in our forum and second speech today, it makes a full picture of what happens in Azerbaijan. Thank you very much. And let's move to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Nuria Kutnaeva, Director of State Agency for Personal Data Protection. At our forum, ex-Minister of Digital Development of Kyrgyzstan, Mr. Dostan Begoev, repeatedly underlines the importance of two aspects in their data strategy. First of all, it's statistics, and secondly is personal data protection. And he explained how moving forward in these two aspects could improve policymaking process in Kyrgyz Republic. And the agency Ms. Kutnaeva leading is really new agency. It was established in September 2021 and is focused on the dealing with personal data. So I would like to ask you to present us intermediate results of your work, of your agency, and medium-term prospects for the protection of personal data in the Kyrgyz Republic. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Stanislav. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the panel discussion, Eurasia's data economy, for setting up this discussion platform so that we can exchange opinions and ideas about e-government and data protection. Indeed, it has become, as today several speakers already told us, a common place to talk of data as new oil and of economies as data-driven economies. I would like to point out several tendencies that we can later talk more broadly about. Firstly, traditional businesses are falling behind. In the last several years, we are witnessing many initiatives from the commercial side with introducing payment with mobile phones for everything. Slow, bureaucratic, monumental organizations are left behind, and simultaneously mobile phone companies are introducing more innovative things and giving citizens innovative, interesting platforms. In fact, in Kyrgyzstan, mobile internet is more used than optic fiber. Kyrgyzstan, with a population of more than 6.6 million people, there are more than 9 million mobile phones. And Kyrgyzstan ranks the second in the world in terms of mobile internet accessibilities for 0.15 cents or 0.15 15 cents per 1 gigabyte. 99% of population is covered by a mobile cellular network, and 85% of population is covered by a 4G mobile network. Secondly, fast promotion of digital skills is taking place by all layers of the population. We got used to small kids knowing technologies better than elderly people. However, the last tendencies are that grandparents are not only using messengers like WhatsApp and Telegram, calling their migrant children and grandchildren abroad. Think about doctors and teachers who were forced to learn computers so that they could work during the last pandemic. Thirdly, thanks to the internet and new technologies, we are witnessing a very high level of civic engagement. For example, in Kyrgyzstan during pandemic, volunteers through different messengers collected and brought medicines and humanitarian aid to sick people, just to help people. Fourthly, thanks to the exchange of data, the government of the Kyrgyz Republic has implemented fiscalization of tax and customs payment. By doing so the Republican budget lately, income is growing daily, like on the daily basis. However, all these advantages of new technologies should be accompanied with paying close attention to the cybersecurity risks and personal data protection issues. The Kyrgyz Republic regards these directions as very important. Therefore, in September, as Stanislav already mentioned, in September 2021, the President of the Kyrgyz Republic set up the Personal Data Protection Agency under the Cabinet of Ministers by his presidential decree. Stanislav, here I need help from you. What are our directions of our work? Firstly, we set up the goal to establish an effective system of data protection, and we put a citizen of the Kyrgyz Republic in the center of our work. You see here our logo. The citizen is in the center of our logo, in the center of our work. Thank you, Stanislav. Secondly, we use an approach when human rights to inviolability and privacy. The system of inclusiveness are recognized as one of the priorities of the state. Thirdly, we think that the education and retraining system is very important. The work is underway to create a system of training and retraining of civil servants, municipal employees, as well as data protection officers in commercial organizations, so-called DPO, for example, in GDPR, in order to ensure the personal data protection in the Kyrgyz Republic, education and retraining. Fourthly, it is necessary to carry out a deep modernization of the legislation of the Kyrgyz Republic in the field of personal data protection. It still contains a significant number of outdated features, which entails a slowdown in economic processes. This should be changed. Legislation in the field of data protection, in our opinion, should be as liberal as possible for citizens and business, but taking into account the strict security and privacy of personal data. For example, a problematic aspect is the issue of obtaining the consent of the subject to the processing of personal data and cross-border transfer of data. In particular, a special category, for example, biometric personal data or medical analysis. Since weakly controlled cross-border transfer of personal data can be used in various fraudulent or criminal acts, including using deepfake technologies. What the agency has done until today on the legislative level, by the way, we were registered in January this year, in January 2022. We have developed and in the process of approving from 7 to 10 legal acts, normative legal acts. Thanks to the active participation of citizens and commercial organizations, several major cases of violations of the use of personal data were revealed and mitigated. For example, in medical institutions, in mobile applications of the banks and pawn shops, access to information in the bank. In June, the information system register of holders of personal data arrays is being launched in the pilot mode. Several dozens of meetings were held with telecom operators, international organizations, and development partners. The international conference, Data Privacy Day 2022, was co-organized with other very important international partners and civil society partners. Preparatory work has been carried out to launch the agency's training center. We want to set up the training centers I have already mentioned. And we are ready to launch a Telegram bot for citizens in order to clarify and to teach citizens about their personal data rights. Coming to the conclusion, I would like to state that we understand that there are some major discrepancies between personal data protection, rigid legislation, and innovative trends. In other words, entrepreneurs virtually have to choose between innovations and the need for data protection. At the same time, the state agency for personal data protection of citizens, we stand for the rights of citizens. Thank you, Stanislav.
Thank you, Nuria. And really, thank you for the presentation. And now I invite Dmitriy, Head of Data Analysis Department in National Information Technologies GSC, Kazakhstan. Dmitriy, you have great experience in improving government's decision-making process. You are working on the creation of the data lake from databases of various departments and developed a system based on the analysis of data across government's departments. And you have a great results, really significant results in this sphere. Please tell us about these projects more.
Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful to speak on this panel, and thanks for the organization. My presentation is very focused and technical, but I think it will be interesting for you. And oops, there we go. And I have 8 years of experience in data analysis in B2G sector and currently leading data government projects in Kazakhstan and implementing data-driven decisions across departments. Today, I will talk about the our experience in creating government data lake from 60 government databases and opportunities to analyze the given data. There is some problem. It's a data ownership. Each government agency can only analyze its own data according to the law. For example, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection of Population can use only place of work of a person according to data on a pension contributions. Ministry of Healthcare, data vaccination, health and disease of a person, etc. But government management want to know what percentage of people who have not been vaccinated yet in every district and every company. And because of this, we want to analyze all of this data in one place for data-driven decision opportunities. And here we are 5 things that we are currently doing to introduce data-driven government in Kazakhstan.
Dmitry, we cannot hear you. Your micro is muted.
Sorry. Yeah. And the first one, it's created a data operator. We have defined a data operator, and the NITEC, National Information Technology GSC in Kazakhstan, is a data operator. Our team, create a data lake. First of all, we do collection, enrichment, and updating of data from 60 government databases, and we do depersonalization of personal data. Also, we creating and support the data analysis constructor and data visualization constructor. And all of this data and all of these tools we providing for free to all government representatives. The second step is encryption rules. We create encryption rules, and these encryption rules of personal data in different government bodies should be same. The encryption covers the identity, but provides all information gathered from 60 database on the subject. For example, we don't know who it is, but we know about in which district he lives, where he works, and etc. What type of vaccination he has, and etc. We use the SHA-256 coding algorithm, and this algorithm gives us the possibility to realize cross-departmental analytics. The next step is simplified and easy integration. We create an exception to the rules for simplified integration of database, because in the past we want to use external and internal electronic government gateways for integrate to database, and it's by rules, it's algorithm by law, yeah, and it's very expensive and too long for integration. Approximately it takes more than 2 months, but for our project for creating a government data lake, we have an exception to the rules for integration, and today we can we have direct access to all of government database by internal network of government agencies, and we use also ETL, and it was very cheap and fast integration and it takes approximately 1 week. The first steps, it's instruments to work with data. We research very actively some tools in the world, in the best practice of big organizations, data-driven organizations, and we choose the open source stack technologies for working with data. For example, we use for ETL constructor Pintaha and Apache Superset, Apache Airflow, and for no-code constructor for building analytical algorithms and machine learning, we use KNIME and RapidMiner, and Apache Superset for BI tool. It's no-code constructor for visualization. It's all open source. And the modern stack of these technologies that are already in use by Airbnb, Booking, and Udemy. And there is some advantages. Yeah, the first of all is no license required, and we have a lot of licenses, a lot of accounts for all of the people who works in government, and we the second advantage is no need for expensive technical support, and the next one is easy to use data understanding tools and the flexible customization because it's open source and code can be changed. It's, for example, you can create some analytical algorithms, some data mining algorithms, machine learning without the writing a code and drawing the schemes like this. And the last one, it's we have a competent team at Ministry of Digital Development and our operator of data operator. The first of all, we have business analysis who prepare of technical conditions for data-driven cases. And the next one is data engineering who do the data collection, data integration, database integration, data cleaning and preparation, etc. And data analysis who do the predicting and planning and machine learning and data visualization specialist for creating clear dashboards and KPI monitoring, etc. And now I show you some of data-driven decision cases, what we created now, and the one of the most actual now for our country is family well-being scoring. We join information from various databases about each family in Kazakhstan. We used different databases, for example, information database with information about family connections, different types of incomes, labor, real estate, car, education level, health, livestock, business, bank credits, etc. And it's example for 2 of families, and the 60 parameters what we have about all of the families in Kazakhstan. And these more than 60 parameters actually of family well-being led us to separate all the families on 5 categories. The first of all, category A, it's very good well-being, and B is good, C satisfactory, D critical, and E extreme. And we have methodology developed by Ministry of Labor and UNDP for proactive government services and state support measures for family, which really need it. And for example, we can see in which districts, in which regions there is some problems, and what problems in these peoples and families there is. For example, we can see, like in this picture, some village when live 1,000 people, yeah, and about 84% young people up to 29 years old is not employed now, and it's really social risk for us. The next example is data-driven decision case, which help us understanding where to increase the level of vaccination. It was in 2021, but it's really helped for our government. We joined the residence data from Ministry of Justice, vaccination data from Ministry of Healthcare, and pension contribution from Ministry of Labor. And we help government understand where, in which region, in which district we have a lot of big percentage of people who not vaccinated yet, and give to government more details, for example, in which organization, in which company, in which public big company we have a lot of the big percentage of not vaccinated employees, for example, like in this picture. And also the last example which I want to show to you, it's Kaz Railways passengers which was infected with COVID-19, and more than 4,000 railway passengers goes to their destination with a positive COVID test result. We use Kaz Railways ticket database and join this data with COVID test database in Ministry of Healthcare, and there we can see at which station it is necessary to add the thermometer and the entrance, and control of the situation or in other stations. Yeah, it's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dmitriy. And let's move to our last but not least speaker, Olga Tumruk, Director of e-governance agency of the Republic of Moldova. Moldova has a strong focus on the development of its data governance infrastructure and has already taken significant steps in this. And today, Olga will share with us this experience. Olga, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to congratulate Dmitry for the great use cases that were presented here. It's a great illustration of how data-driven decision can be or look like, and how the decision-making process can be improved. Thank you also for StrategEast for organizing such useful events for our region, because they offer us the opportunity to learn from each other's experience and to build on this knowledge to maximize the benefits for our countries. Today's panel discussion focuses on data economy, a very hot topic, if I may say so, because all of us already understand the potential of data-driven decisions and the crucial importance of organizing the administrative economic processes based on qualitative, secure sharing of data. Sorry, can you hear me still?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I had an issue with my headphones. Sorry for that. More than this, it became already obvious that data only achieves value by being transformed into insights, decisions, applications, and services. While this process is often contained within individual companies and governments, new applications and technologies are giving a way to a new kind of value loop, one that spans across organizations and highlights the need of a whole of a government approach. Nevertheless, in many cases, data remains stuck and underused. Thus, we have to understand and to realize our data's full potential. And this can only come from our participation in the data economy. We understand the data economy as being increasingly based on data sharing within the national ecosystem. This is why, indeed, data strategies, data models, data ecosystems, and interoperability frameworks need to be considered and to be in place in order to, on one hand, describe the needs, the prerequisites, set the rules and the main principles for organizing the data governance, enable the data sharing within the public sector and between the private and public sector, but on the other hand, to capitalize at maximum the opportunities offered by data, to build resilient data ecosystems and integrate them in our daily activity as individuals, as public institutions, private companies, academia, civil society, and so on. And the main objective is not to impute data usage, but data sharing, but to encourage innovation based on data. I'm happy to share today some of our national experience in building our national interoperability framework that is already in place and is one of the major enablers for modernization of public services, optimization of business processes, and generating economies for organizations, value for public and final users, the citizens. Moldova started its journey for data economy back in 2010 by designing the e-governance infrastructure and developing one by one the building blocks required for a secure and efficient operation in the digital space for everyone, being it a public service, an administrative process, or a business activity. In this context, we understood one important thing. In Moldova, we were having very good informational resources like register of population, business registry, tax registry, social insurance data, transport registry, real estate. So important informational resources that could generate good data potential and could change the way all stakeholders were operating, but these resources were not reused, were not shared. This situation caused a series of other collateral problems, like big administrative burden for those that were in need of data. In many times they were getting this data from the citizens through certificates or other kinds of papers. Selling data, even if it was for public use, data redundancy. This caused a big trust issue due to poor data quality in those alternative resources that were collecting data in parallel, and many other problems. So definitely it was clear for us that we need a game changer, and it was the national interoperability framework that was implemented by our government that became this game changer. In order to address all these problems and issues that we were facing relating to data usage and sharing, the national interoperability framework, in the spirit of the European interoperability framework, brings actions on 4 levels: the legal level, the organizational level, of course, the technical one, and the semantic level. Briefly about our actions and achievements on all of these levels that in the end made the things work and have set our national data model for interoperability and extensive data usage. Moldova has a particularity. If it is not written somewhere in a law or a regulation, no one will start doing or pilot or test or try to change the operation model. So the startup principles are not applicable in our case in the public sector. That is why at the legal level, we started our actions towards eliminating evident and potential legal barriers for interoperability, and by developing the legal data exchange framework on its own. Thus, we had several legal acts like government decision for approving the interoperability program, government decision for piloting the interoperability platform. Then we approved a law on data exchange and interoperability, the most important legal instrument, and the government decision regulating the way the interoperability framework and the platform are functioning in the Republic of Moldova. In accordance with this law on data exchange and the interoperability and the government decision, an interoperability platform named mConnect was established and put in place to facilitate and streamline data exchange and interoperability in order to increase the quality of provided public services, create new electronic public services, and ensure the information security, including all the technical, organizational, institutional elements that are necessary in this regard. The implementation of this framework through the mConnect platform continuously aims to achieve the following objectives. First of all, ensure the interoperability of information resources in the public sector through efficient and secure operation of the data exchange platform, and through connecting state information resources, ensuring the availability of administrative data that are owned by public institutions. Another objective is to grant the quality and the celerity of the decision-making process by ensuring real-time access to authentic, complete, and truthful administrative data without requesting them anymore from the citizens. Of course, a generic objective was to create the premises for optimizing public services and increasing the supply of electronic services through reusing information, automating the operational and functional processes. Good. At the organizational level, competent authority for data exchange and interoperability was established, and this is e-governance agency, and it was established by law. And this authority, e-governance agency, took over the responsibilities for ensuring the data exchange and the interoperability, as well as the role of owning the mConnect interoperability platform. Thus, the agency actually became the institution that is now responsible for taking all necessary actions needed to have the interoperability in place. So basically, we are the pushers that are working with service providers, public and private ones, in order to change the way they provide service by excluding documents and replacing them with data. We are also the pushers towards data owners in order to ensure the data availability and data sharing and reuse among the organizations within the country. Also needs to be stressed, very important, that the principles that were set by the law for data exchange and interoperability played a crucial role for changing the situation, because actually they defined the data exchange model in the Republic of Moldova. I would mention briefly a few of them. This is free usage of data within the public sector, equal access to data for everyone that has a legal right to process the data. So the data owners have to ensure the availability of data through the mConnect platform. The lawfulness principle, so only those that have a legal right and the legal purpose to process the data can do it. The data authenticity, so all the data that is exchanged in electronic format through the interoperability platform is considered authentic and can lay down the decision-making process, and the shared responsibility principles that states that enables the logging and the making transparent the use of data and the use of mConnect platform. At the technical level, we have the data exchange platform that works as a national service bus and that mediates the communication between data providers and data consumers. It is an agnostic platform from technological point of view, meaning that it makes possible the data exchange between systems that were developed in different period of times, thus on different technologies or coding languages. The platform neutralizes the technical dependencies and offers mechanisms for data mediations so that the data consumers are not anymore required to have a dozen of web services with different data providers and to struggle to update and maintain them. The data consumers have only one single entry point from mConnect platform, meaning a single web services that offers them the data from different information systems from different data owners. On the other hand, the data owners also do not have a dozen of web services. They build a generic web service, and that is further used to ensure the requests that come from the data consumers. So the data owners can concentrate their efforts for strengthening the data quality, which also is an issue for and a continuous issue for preoccupation for us. From the semantic point of view, we have developed a semantic catalog where all semantic actives are published in order to ensure the same understanding, the same meaning, and application of the data through all the information systems. Overall, since 2014, more than 350 data exchange scenarios have been configured so far. So I have to mention also that data exchange platform is equally used by private companies to simplify the interaction with the citizens or between them. So I would mention maybe a few of them, like banks, like telecom companies, or private utility service providers, etc. So just to conclude, I would say that since the very starting point of our efforts for building the interoperability framework, we are directing our efforts for service improvement. So one of the cornerstones of the digital transformation and maybe the best use case for technology innovation and interoperability. The interoperability framework is designed to help the government, businesses, and academia to increase efficiency, to optimize processes, to encourage internal collaboration, and to become more agile as individuals and as a country. The platform offers the opportunity to create new business models or activity models, to boost innovation, uptake, to use digital tools in the public administration or within the businesses, thus creating opportunities to operate better. That's it for my side. Thank you once again for these opportunities, and I am really looking for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's all the time we have today, and I'm sorry that we don't go to this Q&A session. We even over the time today. And I want to thank each of panelists, each of you today for joining us today. We even don't have this convenient panel discussion, but it was, in any case, it was really great experience exchange. And we at StrategEast believe that side sharing the best practices, best experience with each other and studying global experience and discussing how to design the strategy, how to design the data infrastructure. It's really important part of non-chaotic but smart digital transformation, smart data-driven transformation. And it's really good to have such conversation and to hear how colleagues in different countries and are moving in this sphere. Thank you again, everyone, and follow StrategEast work, and we will see you again soon with our next panel discussions. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.